today was meant to be not too bad. It was actually, yesterday, sorry. Yesterday was meant to be not too bad, but as we all know, it blew 20 knots. Yet alone up Cape Morton, it blew like 7 to 10 knots all day from the north, and down here was from the south. So even if it's a little bit of distance, 100 k's apart, it makes a big difference. So when they do the forecast, they forecast always Cape Morton to Point Danger, which is down Tweed. So they don't really separate that. So as we see it, whatever it is, that's what it is, but it may not be where you are. It might be up there, not down here, which happened yesterday. So weather's a big part we want to talk about tonight, but we want to talk about catching fish too. So just a quick show of hands. How many people caught a dolphin fish this year so far? This season, sorry. So quite a few of you have. Anyone got one over 10 kilos yet at all? A few of you have. Well done, Dave. And marlin? Anyone caught a marlin this season? Not many. Well, I'm pretty shocked actually. No, I was going to say impressed. I'm pretty shocked. Okay, that's okay. And how about wahoo? Anyone got a wahoo this season yet? No. Okay. Who hasn't been out this year yet? Okay, only a couple of us. So you guys are excused. The rest of you, so the rest of you are trying to gear up tonight. Okay, so look, I haven't been out myself. I've been working with backside off, but tomorrow morning we are going to go out, but we're doing a little bit of everything. So we've just got a real quick trip before work. It's about midday. But I want to get you guys into it the way that we do it, and hopefully you guys can scrub off on that. I like to taste everything, and the best thing about this time of the year is you troll skirts, and your main speed is going to be marlin, dolphin fish, and wahoo, with the odd bycatch or whatever it may be, something else. So it's all the same gear. It's not. There's no difference really. Okay. And did anyone come to our Pakula one we did last month, a seminar? No one's here for that. Okay. Oh, you got a couple of you guys were here? And have you tried that sort of technique since then at all, gentlemen? And haven't been out to try it? No, okay, that doesn't help. Okay. So anyhow, tonight we're going to be talking a bit more broad spectrum across everything. So I'm going to try and squeeze in dolphin fish, marlin, wahoo, a little bit about Spanish mackerel as well. And obviously spotties and Spanish, we do another seminar in about 3 weeks' time when they turn up a bit more. They're not quite here yet. They are here, but they're not numbers. So I won't waste our time too much on them just at the moment. But when they are, we'll put more time into it. Okay. So just a show of hands. How many people have boats under 5 meters? Okay. And how many guys are confident to go out to say 36 fathoms? You guys be out 36 on your boats? That's good. Okay. So the rest of you guys will be fine. Most of the fishing at the moment is sort of like within 36 fathoms or closer. And we will obviously go out to the 50 fathom reef and troll it there as well. There's also some big tuna at the moment, guys. So if you guys does anyone get out and hook a tuna? Has anyone caught a big yellowfin tuna this year at all yet? No one in this crowd? Okay, there's a few people caught them on Boxing Day out on the 50 fathoms northeast. So if you know where Spot X is, which I'll go through GPS marks a bit later, just around Spot X, a bit further out, not much further, another 2 k's. But they're 40 to 45 kilo fish, they're big tuna. So on 15 kilo, you're going to have a bit of fun. On 8 kilo, you're probably going to get done. Okay, so how many people here troll under 15 kilos? Anyone here troll under 15 kilos? No, that's all good. You're all meat gatherers. And 24 kilo? Okay, my suggestion would be troll 15 and 24, okay? And some of the lines these days, 24 kilos is the same thickness as 15, which we do in our combos. So you can fish it like 15, but if you're going to get a big one on, you got a good chance of getting it. So you can just crank the drag up a bit more, okay? But to make sure your rod can handle that though if you've got a fish on that size. Most of them are at the moment, they seem to be around that 15 or 12 kilos, probably a little one, but more 15 to about 25 kilos the common size, with the odd 70 kilo one amongst them, 150 pounds. Blacks, yeah, that's correct. We will get striped marlin in close as well. I've caught them out in 25 to 40 metres, you know. But predominantly they're sort of 50 metres and more. And the blue marlin, as in the last few years, we normally don't get blue marlin theoretically inside about 200 metres, but at the moment they've been catching them in 90 metres as well. Okay, but they're not the bigger ones. They're sort of like 90 kilos, which is still a decent fish, of course. Eating qualities of the marlin, if you do want to keep a marlin, the striped marlin will definitely go 100%. That comes home. Blacks, that's up to you guys, what you want to do. So has anyone eaten a marlin before? Yep. and they're really nice smoke too. Okay, dolphin fish. The best thing about this year is that everyone, because they didn't have the fads out till just the last couple of weeks, everyone was sort of forced to troll skirts. And traditionally, when the fads are out, we all tend to go there with pillies or live baits and catch little ones, with the odd bigger one, right? But this year, because everyone had skirts out, the size of the dolphin fish has been a lot more average, better, like around sort of 5 to 15 kilos, with a lot of 8 kilo, 10 kilo fish. And even around the fads are back in, they're still starting to gather already. There are a few little ones, but there's a lot better quality fish this year. I don't know where the little ones nicked off to, but they don't seem to be in the numbers that they were when the fads were out previously, if that makes sense. They might have gone down to the fads down in New South Wales, I'm not sure. But they're still out there, but they're not in those big numbers we used to catch them. So, but if you get there with pillies and liveys at the moment, you'll probably get a few. But if you troll skirts, you get a lot better ones, okay? So stick to trolling skirts at the moment. The wahoo, okay, the wahoo at the moment, I don't know if you saw one of the Facebook posts, I can't remember the gentleman's name, John I think it was, got one about 35 kilos on Boxing Day as well, a couple of days ago. And it might have been after, it might have been the 28th. But it was a good fish. And he got that, I think, in around about 65 metres deep. So there's some big wahoo around at the moment. A lot of guys getting bitten off. How you going, matey? Yeah, that's okay. You made it. That's the main thing. Do you know which seat you're on, mate? Yep, cool. So the wahoo, I'm going to show you how to rig up a little bit differently for wahoo. So if you want to chase wahoo, it's probably, you will catch them as bycatch trolling for marlin and dolphin fish, but they are predominantly a little bit different troll technique to catch just target wahoo. Okay, it's different, a little bit different lures, a little bit different rigging, and a little bit faster and a little bit further out the back, whatever. So we'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about teasers and that sort of stuff as well. So we'll get underway. I'll start at the rods and reels, and then you guys can sort of go from there. But just ask me any questions you want along the way. Okay, so we're going to rig up for the day before we go out fishing, work out what we need, and then we're going to go and do it. Okay, so like tonight, I haven't got no time to rig my gear up tonight for tomorrow video. I would be using okay, biggest selling combos by far are like TLD 20s and 25s. Okay, so anyone here have a TLD 20 or 25 reel? Quite a few would have, they think. And bang for a buck, they're just really good value. They're really good reels. They last really well. They don't break on a fish. As long as you look after them, they last quite a while as well. And they've got good line capacity. And they've got a very, very smooth drag. It's like silk. It's very, very smooth. You don't want a drag that goes like that, right? Rod-wise, so around about that sort of 5'6" and a little bit of power, and it's really good. Make sure it's got a gimbal on the bottom. Let's rip that off. It's got the gimbal on the bottom. So a gimbal is really important to lock into your rod holder. If anyone doesn't know what that is, it's just that like that little slot, and every rod holder has a pin through it, and your reel, the rod, sorry, locks over that pin. Now, the idea of that is it doesn't spin around in the rod holder, and also when you hook the fish up, it's sort of like jimmies it against the bottom on that angle and against that part of the rod holder on the top, so it doesn't get pulled out as easy. If you do have your rod holder, your reel drag, sorry, too tight, you can get the rod ripped out of the boat. So always set your drag right, and that right feeling is it'll come with practice, but it's a matter of grabbing the line, and it's tight to pull out, but it's not can't pull out, and it's not easy to pull out. It's just that right feeling is really important. So when you get that right, which is around about most drags, if you set on a scale, about 4 to 5 kilos just for what we're doing, dollars and marlin and stuff like that. Next step up from the TLD is a Speedmaster. There's a little bit of flash of rod, but do you need full rollers? Do you need roller tip? Do you need any rollers? Look, that's a personal thing. If you can afford it and want to go the full way, full rollers are nice. The line has no friction at all. It rolls on the rollers. Where with guides, it has a little bit of friction going across, but like I don't know of anyone that's really busted their lines off on the guides with the line running. It's normally down the bottom end towards the fish that breaks. Okay, or if your drag's too tight, it'll just break somewhere on the line that's maybe been nicked or whatever it might be. It had a kink in it, it'll break at that position. So, but full rolls, they're nice. The Speedmasters, just a little bit better quality. Two-speed as well. They've got two-speed box on them. So if you've got a stubborn black that goes deep, so those bigger blacks around that sort of 50 kilo and bigger, 60 kilo and bigger, if you don't get them in that first sort of 15 to 20 minutes and they want to go deep, they'll go deep. And you drop it in a low gear, crank the drag for a bit and sort of work it back up again. But there's better ways of fighting the fish than doing that way, which I'll talk about a bit later as well. But it has a two-speed box on them. And then you jump up to Tiagras, which is that sort of thing there. We sell a lot of Tiagras. That's one of my old ones. Been caught a lot of fish. It's an old 20. I use 16s and 20s for fishing light tackle and 30 wides and 50 wides for heavy tackle, heavier tackle, and 80s for bigger tackle. But look, they're really good. I've had that set of mines probably 2005 era, I guess, maybe 20 years ago, and done a lot of fishing, and still as good as the day I bought it. Drag's still as smooth. So that's the difference between paying a bit more, you get better quality, longevity. Spin reels. If you've got spin reels and don't have any overheads, don't be shy to try your spin reels. Okay, they still work just as good. So I'll troll something like that, no problems at all. So it's a little, there's a 6 or an 8,000 SW, 6,000, sorry, in the Stratic, and a little short rod, gimbal at the bottom, same deal. But you need capacity. It's got 300 metres of about 50-pound braid on there, and you will need 300 metres. Not they're going to run 300 metres, but if you troll and say this was at the shotty, the long way out, sort of 60 metres back maybe, and I hooked up a bigger fish, and it might strip off 100 metres or 150 by the time I slow the boat down, then you haven't got much left to play with. Okay, and so that's the only thing wrong with spin reels is they don't hold 600 metres or 1,000 metres of line, unless you go a big reel with lighter line on, but it doesn't really work that way. So but they have a good drag. Little spin reels have an exceptionally strong drag. So because you're using a bit heavier, like maybe 60 or 80-pound braid, you can crank that drag up to 10 kilos and slow most things down. The hardest part is getting the rod out of the rod holder with a heavy drag. Okay. Any questions on that so far? Okay, so do we troll braid over mono? No one's asked that question. Does anyone troll with braid? I do as well. Look, in America and overseas, braid trolling is more popular than mono. In Australia, mono is still by far probably 80% mono and 20% braid. But overseas, it's like probably the other way around. So that's a personal thing again as well. Obviously, if you're fishing IGFA and game comps, everyone fishes mono or a top shot of mono on the braid. So you can do that way as well. So if you have overheads with braid on which you fish on the bottom in winter, you can just put on 50 metres of whatever, 40-pound or 30-pound or 50-pound mono on top, and just and fish it that way, and then put your lead on the end of that, and fit like a wind on, whatever it may be, and it'll fish the same. Okay, so that's another alternative, because a lot of people hate changing. They've got especially Speedmasters and Talikas and stuff like that. They don't want to waste their braid that they got in there for bottom fishing in winter. So they'll just top shot it and just put on 50 metres. Or I think by regulations on IGFA, you can run 15 metres is legal of whatever size line that you're fishing at. So if it's an 8 kilo competition, as long as you've got 15 metres of 8 kilo on there in the end part of it, it's legal. Okay, to fish a comp. So what that means in theory then is that means that it's been tested that that's probably enough to get you out of trouble in length. For me, it's not much, but most people who we top shot with, say 80-pound, we top shot about 100 metres. So it means we've got braid on there or dacron, whatever it may be, and then we top shot just the 10% of the spool with 80-pound or 50-pound, or whatever. Okay, so that's all your rods and reels. Any questions on that? No questions at all? Okay, now we're going to move into the gear. So at the end of those rods I run wind-on leaders. So does anyone here not use the wind-on leader? A few of you might not have. So the beauty of a wind-on leader is that the old system was a long dobble. Okay, so you do a plait or whatever you may do, and you run a dobble that may be 2 or 3 meters long, and then you'll have your snap swivel cat pawed to the end of that, right? And then what that meant is you're running, say, 15 kilo. So at the double, you've got really 30 kilos to pull on, okay? And you pull the fish to the boat and net it, gaff it, or release it. But the problem is, it's just to me, it's a weak link in the line, and it's a bit messy. Doubles are a bit messy. If you don't do the cat's paw perfect, one side's a bit longer than the other, and that's when it'll snap at that position and have a lot of problems. But I know Peter Pakula loves doing that way still. I'm new school style, and that's using a wind-on leader. So a wind-on leader, you put a little double on at the end of your braid or your mono, and then you'll run this 6 meters long, whatever leader, that has a little loop on the top, and we'll show you downstairs how to join it. It's very easy to join. And then we crimp a snap on the end, which allows me then to wind my fish right up to the boat. Because the snap's there, I run short leaders on my rigs, and that's the fish is right there, so I can gaff it, whatever I want to do. Generally, when they do the old school way with the long double, they run a long leader on their lures too. So the snap gets to there, but the fish is still out where you guys are out there. So you've got to put the rod down and manhandle it in, because you can't do anything else. You can't wind any further. Does that make sense? So it's a lot easier to wind on leader, to wind the fish right to there, and then manhandle it. Okay, does that make sense? So my suggestion is use wind on leaders. What size do you use? 80 to 100 pound is fine for 15 kilo. 24 kilo, I would suggest probably 100 to 150. Both are good, 150 pounds. And you just crimp a snap onto the end. You can tie it on or you can crimp it on. Up to you guys. So we're down now to the snap. So leader, okay, and the rig. So I run one short. That's about it. That's the length, okay, for my lure there. So these are rigs we make up here. That's a single hook rig. Do you use single hooks or do you use double hooks? Look, we still sell a lot of double hooks, but they're pretty deadly, as in a lot of people get maimed by the second hook, especially dolphin fish. A bit dangerous, that hook's flicking around, gets in the leg, whatever it might be, with the fish hanging off it, not good. So with this sort of fella here, just grab a lure here. So I'll just show you here. So keep the leader short on the lure and the leader quite long on the reel. So if you're not fishing any game sort of competitions and just fishing normal, and you're using braid reels with overhead, say, I'd be definitely running about 6 to 8 meters of sort of 80 or 100 pound leader on there. If you just want to do an Albright or whatever knot you want to do, that's fine. You don't need to use a wind-on leader, you can just use normal leader. But you need 80 to 100 pounds for that strength, that shock, and that be able to grab it and gaff the fish, whatever it may be. So that's just the rig there. Like so, we put a little crimp on the end there with a little bit of loop protector, and then the snap swivel will then pass through that loop at the end up here. Okay. So my suggestion is, guys, you need to buy a packet of crimps if you're going to do this sort of stuff with sort of 100 to 150 pound leader. A packet of crimps and this is a cheap pair of crimping pliers. Like better ones are a bit better quality, sort of around $60 or $80. But cheap ones, they'll come back to like $29 or something. Just have a set of those in the boat. Packet of crimps, $10, and you can do anything. Repair anything, fix anything, cut and re-crimp, whatever you got to do, okay? Rather than go home and say, oh, I ran out of leader or run out of whatever, just fix it on the spot. So that's the first thing I suggest. When you do your hook rigs, you want to do your own ones. If you're going to use the wire, make sure you use 49 strand wire, okay? 49 strand is very, very soft wire. It doesn't kink, okay? If you use just like stiff wire, it gets one kink on it, that's it, it's gone. And it just sits better in the lure. It sort of swims with the lure, if that makes sense. This works heaps better. And adjust it so the hook's always hanging out the bottom, but the eye of the hook's inside the skirt. Okay, I'll pass this around actually, so you can have a look. So the further out the hook is, the better it is, actually, but have the eye of the hook inside the skirt. Just be careful, the hook's very sharp. Thank you. Any questions on that at all? Okay, so if you're going to make your own ones up, every skirt's different length. Like, example, that little fellow there is going to be a shorter one than, say, that rig there, because it's not going to work, right? And at the same time, I see guys rig up their lures and they'll put the hook right up in there like that sort of thing. You don't want that either, okay? You want it sitting down like that sort of thing, in that position. Look, you can, but it's going to rub in the head of the thing. It'll probably wear it a bit. Some of the lures do have like a plastic insert, which is probably not too bad. But I know what you're getting at. Wahoo don't bite them off as easy. Yeah, Wahoo's my best friend actually. Look, yeah, yeah, and it got bitten off.
Well, yeah. So quick, Sandy just went.
Yeah, that's it. I know. They're vicious. They've got sharp teeth. So Wahoo have got that special, like a little beak. That out of all the most, or any pelagic, most fish have a solid top and a solid bottom. Okay, but Wahoo have like a beak on the end that's articulated, and they say snip, and it's so quick, like you're saying. You don't even see the rod move sometimes. All you see is the line just loose in the air out there. Yeah, that's right. I know. So look, the thing is, if you put the wire at the front a bit longer, where it's visual, totally. You won't get as many hits, particularly from dollies and whatever. But in saying that, I've been trolling for Wahoo, which I always use wire at the front. So it's only a short bite trace of similar strength. So the wire we're using on those hook rig guys is about minimum about 285 pounds to about 400. Okay, on that sort of little hook size. And but I've caught marlin on wire. I've caught marlin on bibbles with wire. I've caught marlin where you wouldn't normally think they would bite on it, but if they're hungry, they'll bite it anyhow. So, but on a normal day, I definitely say your chances are less. Yeah. So stick with the odd one getting bitten off. Sorry. Yeah. No, that's right. No, I haven't trained them that well yet. No. I just give them a bit of a kickback every now and then. It's a free filtress or something. So we've now got our rigs sorted out, and we're choosing our lures. So look, as I was saying before, we'll talk about marlin and dolphinfish. Okay, it's the same rig, same everything. Okay, so in lures, there's a lot of different brands and styles and whatever. There's millions of different brands out there and homemade stuff and whatever it may be. Proven, definitely Peter Pakula's lures. They've been around for a long time, and we all know they catch fish. Fat Boys have been very popular as well, and we've been selling those for a few years, and they're all really good head shapes that we know work from different brands as well. And there's other brands that are really good as well too, of different styles, and even in Pakula's lures. You've got the traditional that's a little micro roach there, and then you've got his little micro roach in a resin head. Okay, so the resin head ones are really good on calm days, but they're not that good on a windy day, and not that good on a rough day, which is not windy anyhow. But they'll blow across the pattern. They get tangled up a bit. They just don't work as good. Yeah. So these are heavier and hang in the water much better, and just work better. Okay. But in saying that, the beauty of these ones is, because they're 3D CAD or 3D printed, you can put like jet head holes in them and lots of other things, which then enhances the lure size on a calm day. So that little lure there, on a calm day, will probably look like a lure that big and that wide in the water, because it's got this big jet head coming out the back of it. Where most of the other type lures, resin head lures, don't have that feature. Some do, but most don't. Head shape. Look, if you're going to troll your lures, I'd say we've got a standard pattern of 5 lures. Some of you might only troll 3 lures. Some guys have got less than 5 meters. So the guys that boats less than 5 meters, 3 lures is safe for you guys. If you want to have a crack at doing 4, have a go. 5, I'd probably say no. Bit hard. There's only probably 1 or 2 of you in the boat, so trying to handle it is a bit difficult. So if your boat's sort of 6 meters or bigger, you got a bit more width in the boat. You may have game poles, and it's a lot easier to run 4 or 5 lures out the deck. So that's up to you guys. But getting back to the head shapes, as I was talking about before, short head run short, long head run long. Okay. So, and color-wise, dark colors in close, lighter colors out further. So I'll just quickly draw this up for you. So if this was your boat here, and it's a bit of a bad boat, don't buy that design. But generally you got your back rod holders are generally just straight out the back, right? You might have a bait board there with a couple of rod holes in it, and you may have a center console or a half cab with up the top of rocket launcher. Then your next lot of rod holders up the side here, if you have one more set, is generally on a bit of an angle, like that sort of shape. So like that, and these ones are straight out the back. Does that make sense? So I'm going to run one more color here, pink. So actually, I'll use the dark one. Sorry. So short corner, whether it be that side or that side, depends which way you look over your shoulder. Where your console is, the right side, you might want to run the short one on that side because you always turn around to the left, looking behind you. Whichever way you want to do it, it's up to you. But these ones here is short ones. That one there is about 15 meters back. This guy here is about 20 to 25 meters back. And this guy here, let's change this to pink. This guy here is going to be about 30 to 35 meters back. And this guy here, a little bit further, about 45 meters back. Okay, and then if you want to run one out of the bait board or out of the rocket launcher above your console, wherever it may be, we'll just say the bait board for now. It's going to be the one that's right at the back here, and run of the fairway back a bit further. It's about 60 meters back, or maybe even a bit further, but 60 is a good length. The reason why you run it back a bit longer than the others, so they're about 10 meters apart, or 5 to 10 meters apart, is because this one's normally a little lure, and little lures have a tendency to blow in the wind and the current, and not the wind, they blow across the pattern. And if it's too short, it gets tangled up in that fellow or that fellow. Does that make sense? Because it's got a bit of a bow in it. So that's why we drop it out a bit further so it stays out of the way of everything else. Now, if I was going to run, I've got a choice of lures here, but if I was going to run something short, I'd run my bit bigger size, so maybe a cockroach size, like that size there's a bit bigger one, in the purple, so that sort of colour, or a black, that sort of colour, black and purple. That's going to be my shortest one right here. Okay, does that make sense? And then my next one over here is going to be probably, it may be even those two there. So the black one's there, this purple one's here, right? Or if I had, say, a fat boy lure, that sort of colour there, here or here, doesn't matter. But I've used a bit bigger lure on that really short corner. So the bigger lure is going to make a bit more bubbles, even though you got a lot of white crap happening there from the outboards. It needs to be, that's why we use purple. It's visually easier to see for them to see it in amongst all the white water. It's like a silhouette, whatever it may be. So it sits better in that position. This one here though, you can alter it a little bit, but it's still going to be a lot of white water. You can go, a little bit lighter colour. Probably that would be the lightest I'd use in that position. So it's still like got dark on one side, but preferably try to keep it a purple or a black sort of colour as well. And then the next position, which is this one here, which we call the short rigger. Look, I'd probably run either a Lumo or, maybe that colour again. Pink and blue, sorry. Anything like that is going to sit on this position here. Okay. So if you've got only three rods in your boat, and that's all you want to put out, so it's going to be purple, blue and purple, or a blue sort of colour, and then a green or a pink's going to be on your third lure out the back here. So if you've got 4 rods, the green's still going to be sitting here, and I'm going to be running something like a Brad J in that position there. Does that make sense? So we now got those two there. We've got our 2 purples at the front. And the last one out here, I'm probably going to run something smaller, like that type of thing. And for those of you who've been out recently, you know there's a lot of little flying fish out at the moment, like heaps and heaps. And they're only like this big, the baby ones. That's what they're feeding on. So the customer the other day got 4 really big dollies on that Zach lure. Did really well, up to about 15 kilos. And well, something like that. As long as it's sort of that little bright pink sort of colour, okay? Does that make sense? And keep it small. Yeah. So dark, green, pink. So
you don't have like dark days?
No, I don't. To me, it's more important the water clarity. So the further out you're getting at the back here, the more clear it is. But like if it's a dark day, then dark lures obviously work better. Clear day, you still need dark lures in the white crap, I call it, because it just works better. But yeah, if you got a like a rainy day, I'd be probably happy to run 5 sort of purple colours maybe, or black and purple. Yeah, 100%. If it's a doomy, gloomy day. Yeah. And trolling speed, yeah. So if you've got 5 lures out, like obviously you can't control down swell or down current or whatever it may be, but around about 5.5 to 7 knots. Yeah. So sometimes you might go down a swell, and if they've got big swell and whatever it may be, you might pick up to 8.5 knots. That's fine. I'll still jump on, but you don't want to go that fast that the lines are catapulting out, the lures are catapulting out of the water. You need to sort of keep them in there. Yeah, keep the action all the same. That's right. I just mentioned before about long heads. So I'm going to say about that. So you'll see that lure there's got a bit of a long head on it. Look out the back. It's sort of less bobbles but more action. Does that make sense? Okay, where the shorter heads are less action. They don't wobble too much, but they just sort of get air and they go back down and come out, go back out. Sort of go like that in the water. You'll see it how they go. Look, positioning on the swells. They say you should position. You should try and have them on the face of the wave, but the problem is, or the back of the wave, sorry. But the problem is the waves are continuously rolling, right? So it doesn't stay the one wave all the time with you. So they're either down or they're on top. They're down or on top. So there's no. I know it sounds like people. I know Pete says, sorry, Pete, but you guys all know the waves don't stay purposely on that angle. They roll. So it's down on one minute, next minute it's back on the wave again. So it's just the way it is. But what that means is that it's when you try and get it on the face of the wave, in the wave, is that it's sitting most of the time in the wave. If that makes sense. Yeah. Not.
Dougie, what's your thought about chucking out a couple of big guys?
Yeah. So next category. So look. So that's going to be our wahoo. Our marlin and dolphin fish pattern. So I'll come back to you in a second, my friend. Yes. Yeah, so that's another thing too. Going to talk about that in a minute too. But that's when you need at least 2 people on the boat, if not 3. If you're going to run 5 lures and 2 daisy chains, say for example, or 1 daisy chain, you really need to have at least 2 people on the boat. Otherwise, it's chaos. And so I'm going to run it probably either that back corner, but I'd like to run it more off the bait board at the bottom here, where the poles come down. I wrap it around that and sit it probably in this area here, or back a bit further. Does that make sense? About 10 meters max. Yeah, because the daisy chains, like especially some of these like daisy. Oh, that's actually that's on a dredge, but some of these ones that are joined together, even like Peter's lure, like this one here, which are very good too, by the way, or that style, that's about 2 meters long, okay, or 2.5 meters long. So if you got a daisy chain of say 5 skirts on the back of a bird teaser, which is here somewhere, but the bird teaser is going to be sitting probably about here. So the front of it's like nearly out of the water, not quite. Or the front will be out of the water, but you know what I mean? Like it's the rope in front of it hasn't touched the water, it's sort of airborne. And then the daisy chain is going to be hanging about, they're about as long as from here to probably the rod over there. So they're 3 or 4 meters long. So you've got already 10 meters out before you even drop it in the water, if that makes sense. So, and that first lure definitely works good between 15, maybe 18 meters back. But my first lure, the same deal, my snap's rarely in the water. The snap's, that's how close it is. It's right just there, you know. And a lot of, particularly marlin, a lot of your strikes are in that first corner, right behind you. Because your boat is the main teaser. So they're going to come hooking in. They see this big thing in the water, what's going on. Hook it in, and then the first thing they're going to see is the teaser and the first lure. And that always gets hits most hits. It's either there or one of these ones out the back here. That one I don't get many hits on. That one I get lots of hits on. You got anyone here notice that at all? Anyone? Yeah. You get plenty of hits, don't worry. It'll happen. Yeah, don't give up trying. So getting back to the teasers, if you're going to run a witch doctor like so, or a smaller version of this, doesn't matter whatever it is on that style, these guys here actually go down about a metre below the surface, or a metre and a half. And they do that sort of thing in the water. And if you can see the light flicking off there now, it flicks off light like 20 metres that way and 20 metres that way. The fish come hooking in. So that one there, if you're going to run 2 teasers, that one's going to drop back a bit further and sit about here. So you just got to watch out that lure and that teaser doesn't get hooked up, because that's about 15 metres back. Okay, so 10 metres to the back of that teaser and about 15 to the back of this one.
Which doctor speaks to dolphin fish?
I haven't really had that experience, no. But I don't use my witch doctor big lots for dolphin fish. I'd rather use my daisy chain, or I haven't tried for these sort of flippy floppy things yet. I haven't done much of this sort of thing yet. Sell lots of it. But I do run a lot of these. My daisy chain's a strip teaser type, like that style. Has anyone ever used these yet? Yeah, they're incredible. So they're like you've got one in your bag, so if you want to even just tow that behind the boat, is better than nothing. Okay, so it's got a lot of flash. The ones you actually got in there is actually a 3-strip, 7 fish, I think, or 5 fish teaser. So it's the best you can get in that style, a single one. And when that's in the water, especially on a really calm day, strip teasers, or teaser strips they call. It's not a good name, that one, but it works really good. Okay, so when it's calm and glassy, and if you look back, you think it's a school of baitfish at the back of your boat. Seriously, it's just that lifelike. And that's what that is. It's flicking off light and they're flicking around. And that's, it just attracts the dollies really good. So I rarely use, getting back to what you're saying, I rarely use my witch doctor when I'm towing for them, but I will tow maybe a little witch doctor version sort of thing. It doesn't, not so out there. But for the marlin, if you're going to catch the marlin, little black marlin, the witch doctor's fantastic. Okay? And so are all the other things too. These things are really good. Then, as Pete said last time, like before, this is like just a teaser tow line. So this is what you sort of throw at the back of the boat. It's got a little D shackle on here, which will hook onto the front of this, or onto the front of your bird, or the front of whatever, it's a little D shackle thing. But now you can buy it with the strips on it too. So it's got the strips on hanging off it. There's actually 3 rows. So as the line goes from the boat down to the teaser, there's 3 rows of strips. And so you got like this bait fish with something big up its backside, which is the teaser, behind it as well. So a lot of commotion happening. Okay.
You still run out of 10 metres?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, all closer. So as I said before, not the shackle on that thing, but my connection to my daisy chain or my strip teaser is nearly out of the water the whole time. So it's just at the back of the boat there. And my lure that's right up its backside is got its, because the rod's a bit higher, the snapper's barely in the water as well. It's that close. And it's fantastic when you get a big marlin comes up, and it's pretty daunting actually. And if you're out chasing blue marlin, it's really sometimes you just push yourself back on the floor of the boat if you crap yourself. This big marlin comes up. It's like that.
What do you run these off? Another boat or is that?
Yeah, so that's a good call. So you can run on something like that type of thing. You can run it off a handrail. So a handrail with just some 200-pound or 130-pound dacron, which we can make up for you.
Yeah.
We've got little rolls of this sort of stuff too, a little teaser thing.
Yeah.
Which got about 10 or 15 metres on it. And you can just tie it directly to the front of that. But I'd suggest putting a ball bearing snap swivel or something on the end there, just so it doesn't twist up.
So something like that, you want to put on low.
Yeah, so run it. That's why I said I run it down the bottom where it's level with the bottom of the boat, sort of thing, and the bottom of the pole on the bait board. Or you can run, if you want to get down a bit, you just run an 8-ounce barrel on the line. So 8-ounce barrel. They're going to get they're going to get attacked. Like those, my strips they've got scratches over. My witch doctor's got half the mirrors broken on it. So I haven't lost one yet. I've had it for years. And I've seen a lot of fish. But your strips will get chewed and whatever. I should have brought one in tonight to show how, next seminar I'll do it, how worn it is from fish actually eating it and attacking it. But if you want to put a barrel on the front of the top of the barrel, is they try and eat the barrel too, if you get a wahoo or something that comes in. So you may get bitten off. I haven't lost one touch wood yet. Yeah. But a lot of customers do. But most customers lose their witch doctors or teasers to propellers. They forget about them. They think they're on big game fish and shove reverse and chew up that into their motors. Anyhow. So Kirk, does that answer your question, mate?
The daisy chains with the hooks
Yeah, so daisy chains, the hooks, and yeah, so that's this fella here, this one here. So this is another lure Pete brought out, as we spoke about last seminar. In America, everyone trolls daisy chains like this type of thing, with a bird on it. Okay, the bird sits in front of the lure, a couple of skirts in between it. They have no hooks on those, but the last lure is a rig with a hook in it. I'll pass this around. These two guys are about 80 something, $82 or something, $80. But the reason being is in America, they have different rules to us in IGFA and everything in comps. They're allowed to do that. We aren't, but they are. Not sure why. But does it work better? Hell yeah, it works really good. It's the difference. It's a teaser. So if you get a little boat, you just run like 2 or 3 of these things out the back. You don't run any teasers or anything else. That's it. Or drop one of these out and 2 lures behind it. So it's about, as I said before, it's about that long from the front bird to the back lure. And it just works really, really well. So it acts as a teaser, then they come in and bite the lure and get hooked up. So that's, we spoke with Pete the other day. And, so he does colours for everything. He does a dark colour for short corner, a colour for that way out the back, if you want to pull it out right at the back. You can run them anywhere in the pack. But just remember, they're a bit long and wiggly. So they may, you don't want to get caught up in your lines. But yeah, there's, I think, 4 different colours. So there's a Lumo green and the Brad J colour for at the back. And he's got like an evil colour, it's like a blue and gold and green, and a Black Betty, black and purple, right in close. So you can run it anywhere, mate. Yeah. Getting back to the other gentleman with the was it the wahoo we were talking about before? I can't remember. Someone over there. That's all right, we'll get to that later. Deep divers, sorry, deep divers. If you want to run deep divers, all you do is you drop that one there out and put a deep diving lure out. It's got to be a short corner, shortest lure. Okay? And the reason being is that it's down below the white water, so it's going to work best there. If you put it out the back, it's going to become entangled somewhere, because lures have a bit of a habit to go off to one side, no matter which side it may be. It's just the way they rarely track straight. So, yeah. Yeah, how'd they go, right? Yeah, speed donkey. Yeah, they're good. They're good. They're pretty good. Yeah, yeah. Very hard to get one. That's good. Okay, that's bad. So run it short, and my suggestion again is, because it's in clean water, you can ramp it up a bit. You can go Suey's coral trout colour or whatever colour you want, you know, because it's going to be in clean water, probably sitting about 6 meters down or maybe 8 meters down. So you drop it back probably 25 metres, but it'll come down to sort of 10 or 15 behind the boat because it'll be on that angle. Okay, and run that short and run that on your biggest rod. So normally your heaviest, biggest rod is that short corner all the time because it's either got the biggest lure on. The biggest lure on it, and it's just a habit place for bigger fish to grab the lure. Is that short corner, which you'll learn when you start doing a bit of this sort of fishing. So run it on your heavier line. If you've got 24 kilo and 15 kilo, that'll be my 24 kilo rod sitting right there with either a deep dive on it, like someone's saying, or a dark skirt. Do you mix up deep divers with skirts? So if you're going to try and catch a wahoo, 100% yes. I've caught marlin on deep divers, but I've caught more on skirts. So if you want to chase marlin and dolphin fish, stick with skirts. But at the moment, when those yellowfin are out there, most of the guys got them on skirts a few days ago. A deep diver's like they just got to eat that deep diver. They love it. So if I was out in that 90-metre area, I'd probably have one deep diver out, 100%. But normally in trolling for yellowfin, you'd run them back further. They don't like the short corner too much. So if you're going to go for just tuna, yeah. So my short one's going to be probably 30 metres, and my furthest probably 60 to 80 metres back. Yeah. So it's 30, 50, 70, 90, maybe 80, fair way back. I'd probably run a skirt the furthest out. I'd run 2 or 3 divers, 2 divers and 2 skirts, or maybe 3 divers, 1 skirt, if you trace the tuna. Any questions on the lure placing at all? Everyone's good on that? Okay. Do you vary your speed when you're trolling? Look, I don't, but you need to understand the speed of current. It's really important. So if you're trolling with the current, which is normally the best way to catch the fish because the fish are sitting into the current, you troll past and they quickly turn around, they just hoot down with the current and nail your lure. If you're trolling against the current and they're sitting into the current, they see you go past, but they're going to try and chase you into the current. It's quite hard work for them. And sometimes they give up pretty quick. If they're hungry, they'll nail it. But you get a lot more fish going with the current than against the current. But the trouble is if you go with the current and you want to do, say, a couple of hours run down the coast, you're going to be down at bloody Brunswick Heads or something. It's too fast because the current's already doing 2 or 3 knots and you're doing 5 knots. You're actually doing like 8 knots. And if you don't get that speed up, your lure's not going to be acting right. So you need to go a little bit fast, right? But if you're going against the current and the current's doing 3 knots, and you're doing 4 or 5 knots, again, your lure's doing like 8 knots. So the best thing to do is to go side on with it, sort of zigzag, which we talk about all the time. So what that means is, and all of our reefs, like the 36, even the 50 metre line, but 24 fathoms, but they've all got reef on the east side, pinnacles slope down on the east side, and then the sand to the next side of reef. This is a 36 fathom reef, right? So 24s, 36, 50s. That area between the inside edge and the outside edge is probably about 2 Ks or 1.5 Ks. So if you concentrate on an inner depth and an outer depth, which is, say, I'll write down for you here. So if you're fishing on the 24 fathom reef, sorry, this one's not very good. 24 fathoms, which is about 45 metres deep, say. You want to be sitting between, I'd say, around 42 to 48 metres. Even 50 metres is okay. Does that make sense? So that's your zigzag, which is probably about 2 K, roughly speaking. And if you're on the 36 fathom, which is about 65 metres on average, you want to be sitting between probably 63 and 68 metres. that again is zigzag, which is about probably 2 k's. And if you're on the 50 fathom reef, you've got to go out, which is about 80, we call it 85 meters. Now, if you're going out to the 50 fathom reef, you all would know if you watch your sounder that it's 82 meters forever, like 10 k's of 82 meters. You think I'm at the 50s, but you're not. You're just still on 82 meters. It might go down to 86 or something, but you've got to really get out to 90 meters. It's one of the only reefs we've got to work the other way back. So to get the 50 fathom reef right, you've got to go out to 90 meters and then go west. Okay, so I'm going to do this reverse. So 90 to about 80, 85. Okay, does that make sense? Meters. So otherwise you'll never get there. You'll be on sand. So if you stick between those as your zigzag, so on the 24s, that's 42, that's 48 meters, 36s, 63, 68, and 50 fathoms, 90 and 85. And let's just say that's around 2 kilometers wide. So, and the current's going down this way from north to south. That's north, that's south. Sorry, back there, guys. So my zigzag is going to be, if the current's only about, say, less than 1 knot, or around 1 knot, my zigzag is going to be quite long, okay? If that makes sense. Like so, okay? But I don't do it like that. I actually do it like that sort of thing. Otherwise your line's going to get crossed over to each other. But let's just go to 36 fathoms. So say that's 1 knot of current. When I go to 36 fathoms, it's now running at 2 knots. So at 2 knots, my zigzag's going to be a little bit tighter, like so. Because I'm going down the current quite fast now. I've actually, if I go like that, I'm going to get there too quick to where I want to get to. Does that make sense? My day's going to go too quick. I have to go back up again and go back down again. And if I'm out in the 50 fathom reef and say it's running at 2.8 or 3 knots, which it does in summer, then my zigzags are nearly going to be not quite horizontal, but they're nearly going to be like that sort of thing, if that makes sense. Like that. Because it won't take me long. If that's say, if that's 2 k's there, and say that's 8 k's there, but I'm already doing at 3 knots. You're already doing 5 k's an hour without even going sideways, going down current. Does that make sense? Because you're going with the current without even going side on. So even though you're going quite flat, you're actually traversing south quite quick. So just remember, as the current drops off, your zigzags become wider. And if you've got not much current, like it's only say less than a knot, then I want to go with the reef. I want to cover the reef because sometimes the bait's on the inside, sometimes on the outside, sometimes the fish are on the inside, sometimes on the outside. You need to find where the fish are stacked. So you need to do a bit of this anyhow. But and a lot of the fish are, when you're traversing, that's when you get the strikes more that way than actually just going that way with the current. Has anyone noticed that before with their trolling, that they get more strikes? You guys got to get fish first, I guess. But if you go straight down the current, you get there too quick, and in simple terms, and you don't get as many strikes as you do traversing down with it sideways. You get a lot more fish sideways. Okay, so when we go out and fish for blue marlin, there's an area at the moment. If you guys got 6 metre boats and no fuel capacity, where Spot X is, if you go north of Spot X about another 5 k's or 3 k's, and same line as from the seaway, you go to the top of Spot X and just keep going another few k's, get up to 100 metres and drop your lures out and troll zigzag against the current a little bit till you get up to the area, then zigzag back down again. But a lot of those areas up there, we actually don't even go south at all. Like we just go back and forward across the current. and we get so many strikes that way. So if you want to do that, if you wanted to do like just get rid of that for a sec. If that's still 8 k's long, it doesn't hurt to do this sort of thing all day, like that. You get a lot of strikes, and you got any day you've gone from east the jumping pin to east the seaway. It's taken you about 6 hours, but you get a lot more fish in that doing that. Does that make sense?
Does the current change direction?
Oh no, it does. It does at the moment actually. Up towards the pin at the moment, it's actually running north in close. So that's called we call an upwelling, a reverse current. Which may be tuna there, might be longtails there. There could be even the odd big yellowfin. And if the bait's stirred up there, there'd be marlin obviously as well. So there's a few marlin caught in close, halfway down South Stratty. Oh, it's two-thirds way up from here. At the water tower, we call the water tower, which is the old, looks like one of the Surf Life Saving Club look-at towers at Koorin Cove on the beach side. So straight out from there, about 50 metres deep. It's always been a legendary marlin and dolphin fish spot. And there's quite a few fish caught there on Boxing Day in the last few days. So because there's a reverse current. So you guys all got that all right? Yeah, cool. Just to show you something. So I went around the peak today and we just had a bit of a chat. And he said, have you seen the currents? I said, yeah, it's hooking south out wide. He said, yeah, but have a look, sit in close. So if this is North Stratty here, comes down like that, and this is South Stratty here, sort of thing, and the seaway's here, sort of thing. So, and the current's really quite aggressive out about here at the moment, going south, and it's quite wide too. So that's like in the middle here is like 2.5 knots. And on the inside edge, maybe 1.6 at knots, which is in about 110 metres or 120 metres. And it's sort of fluctuating out and in every day. It sort of moves around a little bit. But that's going dead set that way at 2 knots or 3 knots nearly. But in here, the current's actually going this way sort of thing, if that makes sense. Sorry. Like that. And that's when you get pockets of cold air and warm air, cold water and warm water meeting each other. And it's like convergence. They call it like a zero line in tuna talk. And that zero line is where the best fishing is. So you can find where those two temperatures meet and the current meets, where the fast current meets the slow current. That's where the fish are. So it's the same thing down here too. It's a little bit of a back eddy down here too. It's still running south here, but once coming closer, it's actually running north a bit. That's off South Stratty. So from the artificial reef at the blocks up to the pin, it's sort of running a little bit north in close. But the trouble here is you've got a green zone in that area there. So that area there, you've got a green zone up here too, by the way. But yeah, in this area here, is where the fish will be, and maybe in the middle here. That's going to be around about, that 60 metre line, which is going to be right here, is where it's all going to be happening, I reckon. 65 metres, which is that 62 to 67 metre we talked about before. So give that a crack. And these little eddies are happening all the way down to near Tweed. Well, not that far south, but close to it.
That water temperature change, wasn't there a website?
Yeah, so you can jump on, I just jump on, Windy has it if you pay the bit extra and get Windy Pro. Yeah. It has all the sea temperatures and that divergent sort of currents, yeah. And sea current, and also tidal currents too. You can look at the whole lot. Or you get rip charts, which is obviously a bit dearer, but much better. Yeah. So out in this here, it's ripping pretty hard. So look, you'll get fish just traveling down the highway. We call it it's the Nemo highway that you see on the Nemo movie. This one here. So they jump on at Cairns and they end up down at Sydney. But on this area here, you're going to get fish that is going south. So it could be big wahoo, it could be big dolphin fish, or it could be a pack of marlin all travelling south. And if you come across it, then wham bam. Or as I say all the time, at this time of the year, look for anything floating in the water, anything, stick or a log or a piece of rope. It'll be full of dolphin fish and wahoo, guaranteed.
So typically go early morning and hit up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so you might go up to spot X is around about here somewhere. So a lot of that fish is happening in this area here at the moment. But that current's actually a lot wider. It's about here. But you go up to off the pin, or you can, I think it's, I can't remember the name of the Fad 33, I think. It's the one that's northeast of Jumping Pin. That's really the area to start at. And you just come all the way down to off Southport, which will take you, seriously take you 4 to 6 hours if you do it, to get the zigzag right. Yeah. So just remember when you're turning, that's why the lures are positioned 10 or 15 metres apart. So when you turn, it all goes inside each other, whichever way you turn. You don't want them all at the same area because it's going to be bad. Your mates will hate you. Yeah. So any questions on that at all? So trying to teach all the little things you need to know, the tricks.
Find the current changes in your outfit?
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to have other things like dirty water line at the moment because of all the rain we've had. So I was speaking to that guy that got those dolphin fish on that little lure there today, and he said he come into where the clean met the dirty, and he's actually got them all in the dirty water, believe it or not. So whether they were there hiding to ambush fish, I don't know. Dirty means like green, not brown, but green. So, and that change, like it's clear when you get the seaway, but it's not clear. It's greeny clear. Okay, and then the clear water sort of, purpley blue starts at about 65 metres. And purple's got the really beautiful waters in about 90 to 100 metres at the moment. Normally that's right in close, but we haven't had that luxury this year yet because of all the rain we had earlier. So it's just a matter of waiting for the water to clear up, but it doesn't matter, the fish is still in the dirty water. The bait's there, the fish will be there. The other thing too, though, this year, the bait's just starting to show up. The last few guys, last couple of guys I spoke to the last couple of days said the bait is much more like today. There's a few guys out today in that rough weather. A lot more bait today than it was yesterday, but yesterday was more than the day before. So it's definitely starting to show up. So as I always say, we're in this big bay, and that's one of the reasons why the Gold Coast is so great fishing, because it has a lot of pressure, but the fish keep rocking up. I'll just downsize this a little bit. So point lookouts out here, and it's sort of like this shape: South Stratty, Burley, and Tweeds like that. So we're in this, and the highway that current comes straight down like that. And if the water's reasonable in here, or we get that current we've got at the moment, which brings the bait in, the fish will come down here, and they'll just hook in and feed. And they'll stay in here for as long as the water's fairly clear, and as long as the water's holding bait. If it's not there, they come in, look around, nothing's there, they'll just get back on this highway and head down to the next spot in Buckerheads or somewhere down south. Okay, that's how it works. We need to keep the rain at bay. I can't do that, sorry. But if the water's dirty and we get brown, like it started to get early this year, it was a bit scary, earlier this month, sorry, that's not good, because the chances are, because the fish all turn up and all the bait turns up, and if it's brown, they just all keep going south. And you can't think about it. Catch snapper. So we need that water there. And we're just lucky, it's a big bay. There's no our coast that has it. There's a little bit of a bay at Noosa, a little bit, and sort of Tiwa Beach, Double Island down to Noosa Heads, a bit of a bay there. They get quite a few sailfish and stuff like that. Top of Moreton, like it's a bit of a bay, because it's sort of like Moreton, and then it's sort of got the bay. There's a bit of a bay there, but most of our coastline's pretty straight. We're just lucky. So utilise that current line and fish inside of it most of the time. Does that make sense? Yep, cool. Okay, we'll get back to our lures. So We position our lures, got our lures out, we're doing 6 or 7 knots, we're zigzagging. We set our drags just right and put your ratchets on, because sometimes if you get sleepy, which happens when you're trolling, and you look back and either your rod's been pulled overboard or it's empty. So a lot of people do that. So many of our customers do that, I promise you. We forever respill empty reels because they just forget about it. Because when those days are, and that's what happens too, you can be trolling there for 3 hours and get nothing. And there's a bite time, might be the moon rising at 11 a.m., whatever it might be. And everything's coming to bite like that. And if you're not watching and you haven't got your ratchets on, it's very quick. Or you could be doing like old mate said before, you can have your lures out and you get a bit blasé, you're talking to each other. And then finally you look back, you've just been trolling for 2 hours with no lures on because they've been snipped. And it's just the line's just loose out the back of the boat. That was a waste of time. So you've got to be vigilant. Look for stuff in the water. Look for birds. That little Jesus bird that we talked about last seminar, they're the best. And the little tiny white things that just, a little white and black, they just sit there on the water like this, hovering. They're watching the fish. There's a fish below it, trust me. You see that and go troll your lures around, generally get a strike. So if you see any birds, except for the mutton birds that just sort of just cruise around in the swell, but anything that's a tern or those little birds, just troll in that direction towards them. Okay? And if you see a guy that's trolling and he's going back to that troll area all the time, he's onto something. So maybe worth go checking out. Maybe politically nice if you can. Yeah, that's right. Kirk. Look, yeah, it's marlin. When trolling for marlin and dolphin fish with skirts, it's not too bad because you can't get too close because you run over each other's lines. But when you're live baiting for marlin, which is another seminar we do, it's quite aggressive because I don't know if you guys have live bait for marlin, but when you do that, you've probably got in this little room here 2 boats. And you're vertically fishing, but when you hook up, the fish comes up to the top, pops up by underneath old mate's all his lines and it's jumping on the other side of his boat, and you've got to do something about it, you know. It's quite. Has anyone been out Spot X and had that experience yet? Serious? Okay. Well, you will. And so when that happens, you got maybe 20 boats in an area about the size of a football field, and maybe 10 of them hooked up to marlin on live boats, and they're just jumping around everyone's boat. You're like, hey, go back, reverse. Yeah. Oh, mate, could go forward. My fish is on the side of your boat, you know. And that's what it's like. And they just jump up. And as you all know with marlin, when you hook up, say you're trolling, you hook up, the first thing you do is you don't realise it's the fish jumping over there, it's your fish. He's already sped up and gone in front of you. It's just a big lag in the water of your line. And you're fighting that lag because it feels like it's a fish, but it is a fish, but he's over there, he's not there. So you're facing this way, but the fish is actually over that way. So that'll happen, you get used to that as well. Okay, so I just want to quickly talk about the fish print lures. So fish print, another one of Procur's lures, great thing too. Now Pete talks about sonics or harmonics, I can't remember what he said last time. Sonics, correct. So the sound of the lures all making the same sound. So supposedly, I don't know about this, but supposedly when you get all the same lures out, it's like people yelling at a footy match. When you got one person yelling out, no one hears him, but you got 100 people yelling out, everyone hears him. Okay, so it's the same with those. One lure out, and if you've got all different lures, they're all trying to talk to each other, but they're not making any noise. When you've got 5 of the same lure out, they're all making the same noise, and it's a bit louder. I don't know. Some maybe been proven, but I run 5 different colours, different lures. That's me, and catch fish. So, but it's maybe something to it. Snout swivels. I've got to tell you about snout swivels. Guys, get yourself a ball bearing snout swivel. Don't use just cranes, okay? If you have ever had a twisted up line scenario trolling, and that's the other thing I'll talk about too in a minute, make sure you got ball bearing swivels because they don't twist as bad. So getting back to, I'm sleepy, I'm not looking at my lures, I'm nodding off. If you get any weed, particularly there's a bit of weed around, or jellyfish, or whatever it may be, hooked up on your lure, and you're towing it forever, it just twists and twists and twists, and then it actually goes across into the next lure, and then it all becomes a big tangle, and it's just a nightmare. So that's not a good reason why you should be watching your lures all the time. Wind them in just every, 10 minutes, or, oh no, 10 minutes, every about probably 40 minutes maybe, and check them, okay? And another thing too, when you're deploying your lures, that one at the back goes out first. So if you've got 3 lures, the first one, the pink one or the green one will go out first, and the black one goes out last, the purple one. And it's just there. And then the teaser goes in after that. Teaser's last. Don't deploy the teaser first, because if you've got 2 or 3 guys all dropping their lures at the back of your boat, trying to get them out, there's a teaser out there ready, mayhem. Okay? So just think about that. When you hook a fish up, when you hook a fish up, it's obviously going to scream, the rat's going to scream. You generally know it's a marlin because it jumps. A dolphin fish will generally just sort of head in the water, like around, and it'll be a bit zigzaggy, but it doesn't jump so much, okay? It will jump a little bit, but not much. But the marlin will always jump, and the marlin will always have a big leg in your line. It'll be over there, like I said before. So if you hook one up, don't drop it straight back to neutral. Just keep your boat, slow it down gradually, down to about probably 1.5 knots. If you've got wind blowing, say you're going into the wind, this is the worst case scenario, when the current's going south, but the wind's blowing from the south, which will be tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow you got southerly wind and you got northerly current heading south. So wind against current makes it a little bit, those waves sort of stand up a little bit more, because you got the current pushing the swell and the wind against it. And if I'm trolling south and I hook up a fish, the first thing I'm going to do, maybe I'll slow down a little bit as I'm doing it, but I'm going to swing the boat around on a gradual arc so my bum's facing into the wind, because I want to be able to fight that fish with the wind. Okay, and the wind's generally going to be override the current most times. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if you try and, especially on your own, or got 2 guys, and you try and fight that fish with the boat going into the wind at 1 knot, the nose is going all over the joint, and the waves are throwing it around, it doesn't work. But it always works if you go with the wind. Okay. The next thing is, but in saying that, when you got a fish on, you got to normally try and be down current of the fish. So that's the complete opposite to what I just said to you. So once you've got all your lines in and you're settled, and he's gone deep, the only way you're going to get him up is to go around the other side of him, down current. And give him a little bit of line. Let him come up. Not a little bit of line, but just don't give him as much curry, and he'll come up to the top. And when it comes to the top, then you chase it real quick and try and mow down half that line length, if you can. So for those who are quarter mile, do you know what I'm trying to tell you? So you know what I mean. You've got to try and keep ahead of it all the time, because if you get behind it, it'll just stay deep. It'll stay deep in the current, and it's really hard to get it up. And marlin, their pecks don't fold in; they're just like that all the time, and they're really hard to bring up in that current. But if you get to the other side of him, you can pull him with the current, and you can get him to the top, or you just let him have a little bit, and he'll come to the top. Okay. When you get him near the boat, if you've got a little boat or jet ski, just be really, really careful of the jumping antics. Striped marlin, the worst. Striped marlin will charge you. So I've had them charge me. I've had them land on my boat quite a few times, and not in the boat though, luckily. But always been on the front of the boat and jump back out again. But just be careful. They sit side on about where the boys are here. You've got all the pressure is just trying to get it that bit closer to the boat, or you can try and grab it if you wanted, but if you're on your own, you can't. They'll be looking at you, then all of a sudden they'll just turn straight away like that and jump at you. Okay? So just be really careful, especially kids. In a little boat, yeah, that's what I'm saying, little boat. So a little boat, just know where you can jump up to with the situation if it gets in the boat. Yeah, just don't do what I do. Hit the bottom of the boat all the time and miss it. Dolphin fish we talk about dolphin fish all the time. Dolphin fish are a bit of a crazy fish. They're super hyper. Their lifespan's about 20 months, from baby to big. That's it. They grow super fast. And they're just like super hyper. So when you get one in the boat, it just wants to go crazy. It just smashes everything to bits. So as we always say, gaff it, straight into it. The best thing about fish bags since they've been invented is a fish bag. You just throw it straight into the fish bag and zip it. Leave your lure hanging out, unclip it, put another one on, drop it back out, and then you can kill it or whatever you want to do. But just get your line back out in the water and don't try and get the hooks out while it's super active. It's quite dangerous. If you can't get it into a bag or into a fish well or a fish box, they say to throw a wet towel over it. They still smash around though. Yeah. Yeah, I've done that. They flick you off. I've done that. My brother got flicked off badly one day. Yeah. So anything over about probably 15 kilos quite strong, and they slap you. They really hurt, especially down there. So just be careful. Be careful. Wahoo. So when you get a wahoo on, they'll run real fast, and you may have to go a little bit fast up to try and catch up to it. If they run out the back that way, they'll empty your reel out pretty quick. They'll dump out 150 metres in no time, or 200 metres. So with wahoo, the trouble is sharks hone in on the wahoo pretty quick. They like eating wahoo like they do every other fish. So you need to try and give it a bit of stick as much as you can, get to the boat. When you get the wahoo in, always gaff it. So with any mackerel, pull the leader, gaff it in the head. Be careful of those scissor jaw. That jaw very sharp. Even if you put it on the floor and it's just sliding up and down on the wet floor and you walk past, it'll just open your leg up if you hit the teeth on your leg. So very, very sharp. So be really careful. Again, dong it and put it in the bin, cut its throat, whatever. And tuna, well, you'll know what tuna like. Tuna, especially those bigger ones, you really need to brain spike them, cut their tails, down inside their throat. But if you try and hold one in here, this blood will just splatter everywhere. They'll do that little 1,000,000 miles an hour flick, and the whole boat becomes spray painted. So have a good deck hose on your boat. But pelagics, you need a deck hose on your boat. If you haven't got one, put one on there. My suggestion, 100%. Okay. I was getting back to the snaps. I was doing this earlier. With snap swivels, there's snap swivels, and the snap swivels we talked about don't use normal ones. Make sure you use ball bearing, but try and relate the size of the snap to your line. I know this is something you got to learn, but in general sizing of snaps, 15 to 24 kilo, it's either size 4, 5, or 6. So if you got a big lure and you're fishing a heavy 24, use a size 6. If you've got just small lures on 24, size 5, and if you've got decent lures on 15 kilo, size 5, and you've got little lures like that sort of size, on 15 kilo or 10 kilo, size 4 is okay. And size 4 on most brands is about 40 kilo. So that's enough. So does that all make sense? But if you put a size 6 swivel on 10 kilo line, it doesn't do the job properly. It's too big. So the line can't keep up to the twisting of the heavy line, if that makes sense. It's out of whack, and it doesn't really turn. And then your line will twist down the bottom. So it's all got to melt into each other. It's really important. People don't understand about swivel sizing, but try and remember that. Hooks, keeping your hooks sharp. So I don't know if you know this, but when you troll hooks, these aren't too bad. These are either Teflon coated or stainless steel. But when you troll hooks, if they're just like a SL12, say, for example, which is a Gamakatsu hook, they're being chemically sharpened, but they get electrolysis when you troll them, particularly with aluminium boat. And if you troll for about 4 to 5 hours and put your finger on there, all of a sudden it's become flat. It's not sharp anymore. It actually wears the tip off the hook. And if you don't check that every time, like I said, every 40 minutes, just check everything. Check your hooks, check it. If it's not sharp, it's not going to penetrate when you get a strike. And they're about the only hooks that do it. Most chemically sharpened hooks do it. But if they've got coating on them or they're stainless steel, they don't do it. Okay. So just remember that little trick. Probably better the hook. So as I said, I'd prefer you guys use one single hook rather than 2 hooks. Like 2 hooks might hook up a little bit better, but just too dangerous and not needed really. Say you got a marlin on, you got the marlin close to the boat. if you've ever grabbed a marlin bill without gloves on, it'll just take you right down. If it does a shake, it's like diamond file 60 grit sort of thing, if that makes sense. So when it does a bit of a shake in your hand, all of a sudden you'll have little red dots on your hand because it's ripped through all the layers of skin as the blood coming out, and it hurts. It's like a burn. So my suggestion is to have, I don't care, as a pair of garden gloves. You need gloves in the boat, okay? We do different gloves. We do tracing gloves and all different brands and styles, whatever. But you need some sort of glove to grab that bill. And don't grab the bill right on the tip. If you grab it on the tip, sometimes it'll snap off. Okay, not that I've done it, but I've heard it and seen it done. Grab it down towards the mouth. Even if it clamps on your mouth, on your hand, it will hurt a bit. But that's the safer place for you to hold it and the better place for him as well. Okay. And then to get the hook out, either a good set of pliers, okay, like a big pair of pliers, don't use a little dicky pair of pliers, or you can get a hook out thing like this type of thing here. It's a hook out tool, so you don't have to get too close to it. You hold by the bill, and if it's normally it's in the top of the bill, or sometimes it's in the corner or down the back, but generally it's in the top of the bill. You just push on the shank with this one and push up his throat a little bit, and it'll just pop it straight out. Okay, and if it's under or something like that, hook it onto that part of it and pull it back the other way. It'll pop out. Okay.
Do you get many of them swallow the hook?
Swallow the hook? No, you don't. And even when you live, if you live bait in J hooks, you will. But it was use circle hooks. It's always in the top bill normally. Yeah, or the back. But yeah, no, you don't get many. But they come up and crash it hard. I don't know how they don't swallow it, but I think because you're going so fast when you're trolling, it doesn't have the time to get it down there. Does that make sense? You're sort of ripping it forward. Yeah, that's right. And it's always tight. Yeah, bolt cutters. So we have like cable cutters downstairs, hook cutters that'll do up to about a 9 or 10-0, which is about probably 2 or 3 mil thick. So if you do get one in your leg or your arm or whatever, it's probably not bad to have that sort of thing with you. It's because these hooks aren't too bad. The barbs on those, they'll hurt, but they'll come out if you do the push down pull thing, which is what I recommend. You've probably seen my video of me doing it. It works, but if it's a traditional Stephen Peters hook, the barbs and that's still not too big, but it'll hurt coming out. But if you get the traditional, we call them swordfish hooks, but just the normal 769 one S that sort of curve in a bit, they have a big barb on it. Those ones you'll have to either push it through and cut it, or go back to hospital and get it done. If your mate's tough enough, just keep trolling. No, it's a little bit of a shock when you get a big hook in you, especially if you've got something hanging up the end of it. It makes a bit of a hole. But yeah, just be careful. So getting back to a couple other lures that brands I can talk about. These are another one, Def Tax. These have been catching a lot of wahoo recently, and dollies as well. They're like also resin head. And obviously hard bodies we talked about, but if you're going to run hard bodies, make sure it's a deep diver, not a shallow diver. You're going to run one close. And it's got to be at least 8 metre, because it just sits better in the pack of your lures. If it's a little 4 metre diver like a Helco 190 deep, not good enough. It's got to be a crazy deep to get down there, okay?
Does the deep diver being in the spread have a huge impact on how fast, like as opposed to just running skirts?
No, it swims like, as long as it's a good brand, it'll swim at 6 or 8 knots, fine. Yeah. The only thing is that because you're running it short, if you do get up to 10, some may blow out. So the longer you drop it back, the better it swims, obviously, because it's so short. If it's not a good brand, it may blow out. Yeah, but it needs to be deep. Teasers. So we'll go back to teasers. So we talked about Witch Doctor. We talked about the flippy floppy. So flippy floppies. This is actually another flippy floppy type. We sell these downstairs. They're a bit cheaper than the flippy floppy, which is that brand there, which is also the original and the best. These are really good. We sell those as well. So how these work is you run them short, like we said before, and they sort of like that on the water and flick off water and plus they got the daisy chain as well. The that style there's a dredge style. So dredge means, I'll pass this around, has like a bar system. If you can see that, you might be able to see that. But the skirts hang off it like that, so it looks like a school of squid or school of fish all swimming together in synchro. And the other way is with a bird. So with a bird, if you ever use a bird teaser, very popular, been around forever. This is a bird. I'll take it out of the packet. So that's a bird there, okay? So this teaser line here, well, whether it be that one or the other one I had before, the standard one, it's attached to the front here. And it doesn't swim that way, it actually swims that way. Okay, and what it does is it actually swims like that in the water. And it flicks water that like this. Anyone ever used a bird before? You'll know what I mean. And it flicks water, which straight away looks like a little bait fish showering. So it's straight away got the attention of the fish that's watching it. And then behind here, we'll have a string of just skirts like that, which you sell downstairs. Exhibit A. These are in the prize packs. I'm stealing this stuff out. Sorry, guys. It'll go back in there. Sorry. Now, this is my old favourite. Like, I've been using this since I was 16, I reckon. And it's what everyone used back in the 80s, 90s. They're still using, everyone uses it today still. Our biggest selling teaser is probably the style. People just like it. So that's a string of 6 skirts with a chugger skirt at the back. So it's probably about as long as from here to the wall over there, right? And this is sitting on the front of it, doing this. And then they're sitting behind it in a row, and the chugger at the back, this head here is like a lure skirt, is sort of pulling it around a little bit in the water. Goes under, the water comes out, pulls it a bit this way, and they do this sort of thing through the water. And the other thing's doing this at the same time. So it's like a whole conglomerate of whatever happening. Yep. My attachment, this is nearly, like, that's probably coming down. This is only just joining, it's getting a bit of water on the line, maybe, yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's probably sitting about 5 meters behind the boat, maybe 8 max. Yeah. That all make sense? Yep. So something like that combined, guys, is about probably about $110 or something like that for the whole thing. But does it make a difference? Yeah, it does. What else we'll talk to you about in that stuff? Probably in teasers, that's about the main style. The last thing I want to tell you about in that sort of gear is rod holders. So what sort of rod holder, rod belt do you want to use? Depends how strong you think you are, I guess. But we'll get bruised. So at the least, that would be better than nothing, okay? It's got a pin in it for your rod to drop into, and it's got some sort of protection against a bruised thigh. And then next step up, you're going to go something sort of half decent, like that sort of style. So you're a lot more pressure point and a lot more easier to work with. Definitely good. Some of that's around about $49 or something like that. Definitely worth the money. And then if you want to go the full hog, the Black Magic kit's the best, okay? So these sit down lower again, rod's down low, and it's very easy to put pressure on the fish. And you got a harness as well that goes around your back, and it clips onto the reels. So those reels have got the little lugs at the top here where your harness clips onto here. So if you get sore forearms, which you do after about an hour or so, fighting a fish, you can just drop your hands down for a minute and relax a bit. And the best thing about the harness on the Black Magic kit is they have a little I'm scared handle on it. So you don't get pulled overboard. You make it hang on to you. Good for kids though. You can hang on to the kids while they're fighting fish. Apart from that, that's probably the nut gear, I think. Yep. Okay, wire was put to the gloves. Oh, lure bag. So how do you keep your lures all clean and tidy? Just get yourself a lure bag, guys. Doesn't matter what type it is. Just something you put the lures into. Okay, you can wash it down at the end of the day, and they're all stacked there nice and neat. You can put about 2 to 3 lures per thing. All different types of brands in that. I think that's about it in that stuff. Okay, I'm quickly going to tell you about wahoo now. So, wahoo fishing. Wahoo, I love catching wahoo. They go hard. They taste good. You want to have more metal heads. Okay, I think you got one in your bag as well. The metal heads just hang a bit better. You're trolling them faster. So, resin heads have a tendency to fly out of the water, generally speaking, at about 10 knots. Okay, where most of your metal heads you control up to about 14 knots. Got to drop them back further though. If your lure's too close in a metal head, even at say 20 meters and you're doing 10 knots, it'll probably come out and skid around a bit. If you drop it back 40 meters at 10 or 12 knots, it's going to sit beautiful. Okay, so you drop your lures back further, so double everything nearly. So if your first one before was 40 meters back, you're going to be 80 meters back. Closest one's 15, it's now 30 meters back. So just double it. And you don't need a big metal head. It could be a small lure, like that size. That's fine, you know. Metal head. My suggestion is we rig up for you. If you want us to rig it up for you, but we use the same rigs as these. So the ones we had before, or the cooler one, whichever, like that type of thing. And what we'll do is that'll sit in there, but we'll rig it up on about that much of about 285-pound wire, okay? And it's just a bite trace. And as I said, the wahoo's articulated mouth, plus its mouth is quite long. So a Spanish mackerel's mouth, that's probably 15 kilo Spanish, is probably only about that long. A wahoo's about that long. It's quite long. So hence they snip. So you need that little bit of a reassurance, like the gentleman saw about before, so they don't bite off above the lure. They'll still bite through wire though, but not as bad as mono. Not as quick. And so just remember that double length on your distance out, metal heads, wire in front, and up the ante on the speed. So instead of doing 5.5 to 7 knots, you might be doing sort of averaging around 10 to 14 knots. So you're nearly on the plane. Some boats you will be on the plane. Okay? And that's how you catch them. If you want to catch wahoo and dollies and maybe the odd marlin at 10 knots, you will. Stick in that sort of 8 to 11 knot range. And the wahoo love that. Okay? Yeah. So you will still catch, as I said, you still catch wahoo at 6 knots. And Peter Bakula told me once his best catch ever, he was doing, he had a broken motor, I think, or something like that, or steering, I can't remember. Like 2 knots. 2 knots. And smashed it. The wahoo jumped on the lines, which it's different again. Not the speed I'd be doing, but definitely around that sort of 8 to 12 knots. Okay, where do you catch the wahoo? Look, when they're on here in close, we'll get them in on the back of the 24 fathom reef, just behind the diamond, in about late March through to about probably May. We'll get them now too, but that's when they're in better numbers. And down the 9 Mile Reef, which is by far the best spot off the Gold Coast to get lots of wahoo and big ones. That again is April and May. It's the best time. And we're trolling just more that size, bigger ones, and trolling on 24 kilo. So 15 kilo, remember 15 kilo when you hook a 20 kilo wahoo at 12 knots, it can break your line straight up because it's quite, even though your drag's not so crazy, you can't have your drag too loose though because this will actually pull the line off. Your drag quite at about probably 3 kilos, it'll be peeling the line off all the time, and you have to tighten the drag up more and more to stop it from peeling the line off at that speed. So if you've got 15 kilo line, you've got a fair bit of tension on there, and a big wahoo jumps on it, it'll snap your line as soon as it hits because there's too much shock. 24 kilo though, it is no problems at all. You can handle the speed, you can handle a fair bit of drag pressure. Does that make sense? Yep. Okay. Where to go? Any questions so far, folks? Any questions at all?
If you catch them all,
Mm.
at what point do you think it's too big to eat?
Um,
So,
I,
how
we-
small would you take home?
if I, it's such a sense who's watching here, but look, at the end of the day, they're just like a broom or a whiting. They have millions of babies, and there's millions of male out there. It's just another species, but it has a flamboyant attachment to it, as in majestic or whatever, and they should let it go. But
Isn't there something about the meat?
no, well, I've eaten them up to, Paul and I got a blue male once, it's about like 220 kilos, and we ate that. I didn't want to eat it because it was dead. So we had a crack at it, and it was all right. I gave more to the neighbours than I ate myself. But anything between whatever size to maybe 120 kilos is fine. And if it's a striped male, it's even more fine because it's more white meat, more nicer, oily. Yeah. It's just like eating a wahoo or Spanish mackerel. Okay. But it's up to you guys whether you want to keep it or not. And if I got one fish that's, especially when I'm bait fishing, or if I got one that's when I'm marlin fishing with skirts and it's hooked in the eye and it's like its eye's gone, whatever, I'll keep it 100%. Yeah, especially if it's around that 25 to 40 kilo size. Yeah. And I see a few guys on Facebook this week keep it. All the charter boats keep it for their clients, you know. That's up to you guys, though. They're nice. Dolphin fish is nicer. Yeah. Bang for buck, they're the fish. They look good, they fight good, and they taste good. Probably, in some cases, they're so good on barbecues and teppanyaki plate, whatever. Okay, so I just want to ask, how many people here from Brisbane today, or up that way? Quite a few of you are. So do you guys get down the Gold Coast, or are you predominantly up in Brisbane way? Okay. We've done this before, and we'll do it again. I'll get Helen next week to send out to everyone, or one, because it's too hard to. We've tried before just to put down a few names that are local. From there, we'll just send everyone the Brisbane marks. Okay. But I've got marks in here that start off about just south of Point Lookout, mate. If you go out through South Passage. How many people here from Tweed Heads Way south? Quite a few of you guys too. So we've got marks down to the bottom one, which is a deep one, sort of like deep southern area, which is sort of off about Bingle, see? But I don't have any further south, but I do have them. I'll send them out too. So I'll send you all my marks that I got for trolling in those areas. But these areas here are that 2 kilometre, 42 to 47, I think it was 62 to 67 or 68, and 90 to 85, around 83. That's all those grounds there, okay? And our reefs run north-south with a bit of a bend in them, and there are sandy patches in between. There can be like 3 kilometres of no reef. It's obviously covered up. Sometimes comes back out again. But if you put all those marks in, you'll get to see what I'm talking about, and just troll from one end to the other. Okay, does that make sense? But if you want to go to right now as we speak, who's going out tomorrow? A few of you are. We're going to be tired, but we're going. The wind's getting up. Yeah, I know. I haven't checked it, but 14 knots, is it? Yeah, it was a bit windy today, and yesterday it was like 20. Look, the thing is, tomorrow it's like a 7 out of 8 bite, which is and it's nearly all day. So, which means it's a really good bite period, better than the last 2 or 3 days. I think it's there's 3 fish as the top. I think it's 2 fish bite from daylight at about 50 or 60% bite rate. And then I think at 1 o'clock it jumps up to 97%, and it's a 3 fish bite or something. So if you can hang out there till 1 o'clock, that's going to be the hot bite, supposedly. But that area I was talking about up the water tower is, if you see that 27, 44, 153, 33, so just south of the jumping pin bar by about 2 or 3 Ks. So about like Tipler's area, if that makes sense. So that's the third mark from the top, where it says under 50 metres, 27.44. Out the front here, look, do you all know where Fad 1 is, which is off Q1, Fad 1, which is one of the original fads out the front here? So there's been quite a few dolphin fish around there, and good size too, and a couple of wahoo as well, and a couple of marlin. So that's a good area to fish as well. If you're going to go out where that inside area was before, I was saying where the two converge, that's around 12B at the moment. So 12B has been a really good spot. I know some people have had no luck there, but most people have had luck there. So that's around 27.53, I think it is, which is under 75 metres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 down. 27.53, 155. That's around 12B area. So from 60 metres out to the Fad, which is about 4K east-west, has been a really good area at the moment to fish. And the under 100 metre area, so these all these spots will work, guys, but this is what the hot happening area. The under 100 metre mark, I'd probably be looking around that 27.43 down to 27.49, which is about a 5K run or 6K run north-south. Probably 8K, sorry. That's where it's been happening at the moment. That's where those tuna were the other day as well. So check that out. But it's actually been better fishing inside of 70 metres, so in closer. You don't need to go wide. Okay. A few guys up North Brisbane way. So you guys fish north of, like off Lookout, off the Cape? Yeah, okay. So it's, like if you want to chase wahoo right now, definitely around Sevens Reef would be the go. And there'll be probably little blacks there as well, just south of it. And down to the Wave Rider Buoy, which is, you know, off Lookout a bit further south. That's the area to hunt, mate. Yeah. The current comes hooking around that corner. Just get on the inside of it if you can. Give that a go. And go right, if you can get it, do it. So for you, your day south will be down to maybe near Jumping Pin at the most. And just start up at sevens and work your way down that depth, that sort of 46 to 52 metres, or a little bit deeper for you up there. Yeah, you want to go out to 52 and into about 46. Okay. Any questions on that at all, folks? Put all the marks in. Give it a crack. Okay. Is there any questions on anything else to do with this seminar? Anyone got any questions? Eddie. It's a current that goes north instead of south. Oh, Peter. Peter Bakula. No, don't know? Oh, okay. You guys are not the scene. That's all right. So Peter Bakula is like, he makes Bakula lures. Okay. And inducted into World Hall of Fame game fishing and caught many fish. Probably caught more marlin than we've caught, put pilchards on our lines. and he's a bit of a legend. 70, I think Pete's 74 years old. Yeah, but in his time, he was the guru. Yeah. So he's the one I keep talking about. Yeah. Very good fisherman, but he has different ways to eye fish. Like Stewie has different ways to eye fish too. Stewie's ways are left field. I don't want to go there because he's downstairs. He might be listening in. Have a good time. Good. No, he's meant to come up actually. Where are you, Stewie? He should be up here soon. But
I know most people like you,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
They come, how close in?
The marlin. So look, of course we haven't had clear water in close yet. So if we had the water that's out on 60 metres now in close, they'd be right at our doorstep. So like many times I've caught marlin behind the surf break, caught marlin, 12 fathoms, 18 fathoms, so everywhere, mate. No, you don't have to go wide. No, you don't. And at the moment, everything's within 20 kilometres. So within. Yep. Do you know what depth it was? Fathoms? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so around 12B. Yeah. Oh, meters? Oh, that's close. So that's about, that's only like 4 k's offshore. Yeah. How big's your boat? 4.5? Yeah, that's right. I caught my little 4-meter Hornet. If you know what you're doing with your boat and you've got some idea what it can do in the conditions, then you're okay. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, no, just fish it inside 50 metres, mate, within 10 k's. And just do the same as we're talking about now. You just do it a bit closer. The other thing too, guys, I don't know if you've ever seen marlin free swimming, but if it's a glass out day, which isn't going to happen tomorrow, but if you look, it looks like just sticks sticking out of the water, like a little stick in the distance. You might see a few sticks. Yeah, and they'll be like a pack of them, like, I don't know if you call them pack or pod or whatever, but there'll be like maybe 6 of them in a row in the same little school swimming around, and just like a couple of little sticks in the water, and that's what you look for. You think, oh, there's a stick over there, I might go check it out, but all of a sudden it'll start moving. It's a marlin, and if you don't just go straight to the top of it. If you're going to do that in that scenario, you might want to drop your lures out back a bit further and go around it and then pull your lures past them, sort of thing. So drop them back maybe wahoo distance, you know, and then entice them if you can. Yep. Or just subtly go past them and hopefully the tees will pull them over, or your boat will. So look for sticks in the water. Look like sticks. Look for debris. Watch your lines. And it's a lot of work. It's just not easy to go and throw your lines out and catch one. It's not that easy, unfortunately, but sometimes it is. Some days it is. Sorry? Yeah, that's right. That's right. And yeah, that's why it's called fishing. That's right, yeah. The last thing I want to tell you about, you need a big knife. Okay, if you're going to, dolphin fish are quite deep, especially the bulls. And marlin are quite big as well if you want to fill the marlin up. Marlin have a very unusual scale. If any of you guys fiberglass is a bit like that. It's got like these little splinters in the flesh, in the skin. So yeah, it goes everywhere, and it's actually like fiberglass on your body if you get on your body. It's quite weird, but once you skin, it's fine. Okay, but they wear your knife down blunt pretty quick. It's quite different skin. The little parasites that will be on, like a little tiny squid-looking things, or something out of like, I don't know, it's one of the movies. They're like little weird things. Don't worry about them. They just come off on the skin when you do it. And yeah, probably the other thing about marlin is that if you can get it going, as long as like I suggest not taking it out of the water. The old days, everyone used to take it out of the water, take a photo, throw them back in the water, but they generally died. So my suggestion is, if you want to get a photo, grab by the bill with a pair of gloves on and stick your head next to its head and take a photo, okay? If you want to just do that and don't keep them. It's up to you guys. That's probably about it, I think. Yep, okay. Yeah, that's everything. Okay, no questions? Everyone's cool? Yes. Yeah, please ask me.
There's a big long procedure before about when you hook one up,
Mm.
trying to go up current, down current.
Yeah.
Does that go out the window when you're fishing solo and you hook one? You just get your lines in and then follow
Yeah,
it?
so if you have solo, first thing I try to get, because I've done solo quite a few times, is try and get my boat into the wind first, right? So whether it be a big slow arc and you just, because some boats have got terrible steering where if you just let go of the steering wheel, it goes around in circles, right? And other boats are not too bad. If you've got autopilot's even better, but if you could just sort of put on a big arc to eventually go downwind, and then try and get a couple of lines in. Like people say, fight the fish, and then leave the lines out. There's no way I don't do that. You know, that never works. It gets tangled up and everything. Yeah, go forward. Keep the pressure on the fish the whole time. Make sure you can still peel the line off, but not stupid amounts of line. So that means slowing your boat down a little bit, and then you do the big arc around, get other lines as quick as you can, get the teaser. Teaser comes in first, and then get the other stuff in, other lines. And look, you might have to do a bit of untangling with one of the rods or whatever, if it's jumped or gone up that way. But that's about it. Then you can then change your perspective on the fish after that. It's like a Stewie coming up, don't you? Yeah, if you can, please. Just want to see if you have any comments to add to my talk. Yeah, but just do that, mate. Yeah. But I know Pete the other day said leave the lines out of 2 or 3 fish on them. I don't know. A little bit hard. But obviously, if you know what you're doing, you can do it. Yeah. Sorry? 5, did he? Serious. I guess you could do that when you're the best. I can't do that. Yeah, but yeah, so cut it straight away. It's like just fishing like for jacks, whatever. It doesn't matter. If there's any burring on your line, you just cut it off and re-crimp it. Hence why I said just have a cheap pair of crimp pliers on the boat and crimp the hook back on.
It's amazing how many days you've got to go to it, like gone out fresh leader, then feed a leader.
Yeah.
That's all burnt up. You think you can
No, that's exactly right. So what Kirk said there's spot on. If you don't watch your lines and it's a bit of a rough day, and every now and then you get a swell that pulls a bit of drag off, that may have been a fish and you think it was a swell, right? You need to know the difference. And if you don't check, like you're saying, Kirk, and you hook that big one up and it's already chafed because you had a hit but you didn't watch it and happen, you'll lose the fish 9 times out of 10. So, yeah, mate. Yes.
Setting your rod holders.
Yes.
You got 30 degrees for your 2.
Yeah,
So
riggers,
front
yep.
fours, you got the 2 backs.
Yeah,
2
correct.
outs.
Correct.
Are those drop-in rod holder like the hook 'em and the relays?
Yeah, they're good.
Are they
So the ones that the arms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ones that just
Look,
like the L-shaped.
Yeah. So I don't use them much for marlin fishing or dolphin fish because they're too hard to get out.
Yeah.
When I fish for mackerel, I do because I troll slow, so I can get it out pretty easy. But when I'm doing 6 or 7 knots, it's very difficult to get out. And half the time I lift them out of the thing and I nearly fall in the water.
So have you got straights out the back?
I got straights out,
yeah,
correct. 100%, 100%. And you've altered them at the different distance, so it all melts in. Yeah. So my suggestion, guys, if you've got those flat roller trollers, or like the flat rods, stainless steel version with the rods sitting in there. I mean, anything over 3 knots, I'd prefer not to use them. Under 3 knots is fine in speed trolling. If you've got outriggers, how many people have got outriggers on their boat? So use your outriggers and make sure you put tag lines on your outriggers, so a weighted system. So do you guys use tag lines? Yeah, if you don't, you should be doing it. So we can teach you how to do that. We've got the stuff here to do it. But it just works so much better. Your lines sit further out again. And when you hook up, it just all goes straight back down, ready to deploy again straight away. There's no pull the line down or anything like that. It's really easy. And use rubber bands on your line. Don't use the clips. Clips are really good for slow trolling with baits, live baits. Useless for trolling skirts, especially pushers and stuff. They pop out all the time. So use rubber bands and use the half hitch on a bit of tag line. We can show you that too. Okay. And if you want game poles, we do poles for about I think from about $800 a set complete for a basic set. Good ones maybe $1,000. Or you can get them online. Scope and Tackle, one of those guys. They've got it's pretty cheap. Okay. No, Stewie? He's too scared. He's too busy. Some of you guys must have gave him some work to do.
So when you run your braid,
Yes.
to your leader, like you got 6 to 10, like 6 to 15.
Yeah, correct.
Just an FG knots, all right?
Yeah, FG's fine, mate. FG's fine. Just when you're doing it, just do it quite long if you can.
Yeah.
A bit longer than normal. Yeah, correct. Yep. And like I said, even an Albright works fine. If you just remember the golden rule. So if you're using more than double the size of your line, then double up the line. Does that make sense? So just do a little bimini twist in your braid and then use the loop on your knot. It works a lot better. So if you're running, I would never troll a 20-pound braid because it's too light. It's going to snap, soon hook up. It's history. 30-pound, probably similar. 50 pounds, okay. 65 is good, 80 is even better on braid when you're trolling. And if you're running, if you were running, 40-pound braid and running 80-pound leader, so that's about double or more, you must double up the braid before you do your knot. Yeah. with this work, the impact's a lot better. Yeah. Okay, any other questions at all, folks? Everyone's ready to roll. So has anyone checked the weather for this weekend coming? How'd you go? Sunday looks not too bad, right?
Oh, it was looking awesome, but the
Yeah.
wind's just picked right up.
Yeah. I know. It's not meant to have happened, but it has. Swell's good. Bite period's good. Wind's not good. And when we got a bit of current running south, like I said, it stands up a bit. So it's going to be ugly out wide tomorrow, where we're supposed to be going maybe. But in close won't be too bad, especially that reverse current. Yeah. So it'll be wind and current together. Actually, quite calm in there. Yeah. It's a bit like when you go past the seaway. If you go to the north side of the seaway and it's a howling northeaster, and you've got the current coming in, tide coming in, like it's quite choppy, right? It's quite ugly. But if you go the other way, go past Seawell Way, it's like flat because it's wind and current going the same way. So it's the same out there. But you got swell as well. Yeah. Okay. And just other than too, when trawling, guys, fuel. You got to know your fuel capacity. You don't burn much fuel at 6 or 7 knots, but you still burn fuel. So just understand what you're going to use in fuel. And you should all know what your boat does roughly and how many hours you can do. Don't want to run out of fuel. It's not good. Might have happened once or twice. Okay. Call your mates before you call the Coast Guard. It's more discreet that way. Okay, we'll do the draw. Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys. Okay, we'll do that. Yeah. Oh, you want to do it? You want to help me? Oh, you. I'll just hold up and pull it out. Yeah, it's still good. Thanks, Tony. Okay, so tonight, guys, no other questions at all? Everyone's right? Okay, good. Okay, tonight we up the ante. I think it's about $1,600 worth of gear we're giving away. Okay, got 8 prizes. First one goes to number 16. Middle of the pack. Well done. I'll pass this down to you for my wife to pass to you. Thank you. Well done, buddy. Okay, next one. Can you draw the next one? It's number, at the front of it, 7. That'd be you.